All right. According to my clock, it's 6 p.m. UK time, 7 p.m. for me here in Berlin. I would just quickly introduce myself. So I'm Yannis, co-founder and CEO of Acora. You might have seen me advertising the event or met me at another occasion before. Um, and then I will hand over to Peter from Quantinuum for now before I will have my own speaking slot later. Pete, I will unmute you.
Great. Yanis, thank you so much. And to Pierre for arranging this as well. And thanks to everybody who's taken the time to join us today. Um, I think I should just say up front, shouldn't I? And correct me if I'm wrong, but A, we're recording this. And that's for people who couldn't join this live so that they can catch up on it later. And it becomes a resource. Second thing is, I don't know if people are going to be able to ask questions actually, Yanis, on this. Yes, they are. Okay, good. So maybe you could just quickly say how people can do that so that people know how to and when to.
Yes, if you have a question, please raise them in the chat and then I'm going to unmute you and moderate them.
All right, fantastic. Well, Yanis, if you spot people asking questions because they don't have a clue what I'm saying during me speaking, feel free to dive in and stop me and we can tackle some of those as we go. So I should first of all just say I'm here from Quantinuum. We're one of a number of partners who have devised this particular quantum hackathon, the Bradford Quantum Hackathon. If you can move on to the next slide, Yanis, and I'll just speak briefly about the context of this event. I will speak through in my slides here a little bit about the event, a little bit about Bradford, and just briefly introduce the partners who are giving us their full support. We're calling this a scientific and cultural event. That's partly because it's a quantum hackathon and it's obviously scientific, but it's taking place in the International Year of Quantum, which is a celebration by the United Nations. But that celebration is by UNESCO, which is the cultural part of the United Nations. And Bradford in the United Kingdom is the City of Culture in 2025, which is an honour bestowed on a city every couple of years. And it brings with it a lot of investment, a lot of focus, and it tries to look at culture through every aspect. And actually science and education are a really critical part of culture. What it does mean is that this hackathon will be very closely aligned with the 6 goals of the United Nations International Year of Quantum Science and Technology. So we will ultimately be looking for ideas and solutions and proposals that fall under the 6 areas of health and well-being, reducing inequality, climate action, generating economic growth, improving or protecting industry and infrastructure, and also clean energy, which is a major one by itself. We are targeting 200 people to come to Bradford and participate in this hackathon, in the live part of the hackathon. We have managed to, with the support of the city of Bradford in the north of England, we've managed to secure arguably the most impressive venue in the city, certainly the most interesting one because it was derelict for a long time and has been brought back into use as this City of Culture year. You can see a picture of it there. It's an incredible venue on the inside. We hope to bring 200 people there, comprised of 40 teams, competing for a prize pool of £25,000. But we will also say that there are other honours available, not least the recognition that this will confer on some teams. We also hope to be able to offer support for any of the ideas that come through this hackathon that are relatively mature and actually look like they could be turned into a business. We will have the support of the British government, actually, to try and make that happen. We hope through our supporters and partners that there could be other opportunities that come off the back of this hackathon as well. I should say that the response has been absolutely enormous. In the first week, we've had more than 300 expressions of interest to participate, and we expect that to double in the next week. What it means is that when we ask people to register using the Acora platform, and Yanis and the team will talk through that, we want people to do that and think seriously about who is in their team and make sure all the information is in there properly so that we can make a proper assessment within the next couple of weeks about whether or not we need a midway selection process. In the end, this is an incredible building where we're going to hold the live final of the hackathon, but it actually has a capacity. So we will ultimately need to make sure we get to about 200 people taking part in the live event. If you can move on, please, Yanis, to the next slide. I'll just say briefly a word about Bradford. Bradford is a city located in Yorkshire in the north of England, pretty much slap bang in the centre of the island of Great Britain. It was an important focal point in the Industrial Revolution in the 18th and 19th centuries. We often talk about the quantum revolution as being the next industrial revolution. Some people say it is in fact the first real industrial revolution, such is its impact likely to be. But Bradford is no stranger to revolutions of this sort, and it was known in the 18th century as the wool capital of the world. It was a major exporter of wool and also of the steam, the mechanical and the chemical processes that powered the production of a certain type of wool called worsted, which is still used today to make suits and things like that. Amid a surge in employment and prosperity, Bradford's population grew 700% in the first half of the 19th century, and the drive to improve conditions for workers and their families evolved into a really significant social movement. 15 minutes away from Bradford, for anyone who makes the trip for this hackathon, if you have enough time, you can go and visit the village of Saltaire, which is just nearby, which is a Victorian village built to improve conditions for workers and their families. And the people of Bradford talk about it as being a precursor to what we'd now call a smart city. It was a city built for living. In the 20th century, the newly designated city of Bradford became the birthplace of many influential artists and scientists, including Nobel Prize-winning physicist Sir Edward Appleton, the painter David Hockney, and a biologist Victoria Braithwaite, whose pioneering work into animal experience transformed our understanding globally and our commitment to animal welfare. The University of Bradford, one of our partners, rooted in the city's industrial and engineering heritage, has a long tradition of linking technology with social impact. It led research into AI for health and care, as well as ethical and inclusive applications of AI. And Bradford has also been instrumental in developing peace tech, a branch of AI used in peace building and sustainability. So today, the university applies that same spirit of innovation to the emerging revolution in quantum computing, which promises more powerful AI, new capabilities across chemistry, biology, healthcare, finance, economics, and others. And then building on this rich history, and of one of the UK's youngest and most diverse cities, Bradford was chosen as this city of culture in 2025, celebrating creativity and expected to create thousands of jobs and bring an extra 3 million visitors to the city. So 200 of those we hope to be parts of this hackathon. Bradford is thankfully well served for transport and hotels. Daily trains come in from all over the UK, and Leeds Bradford Airport connects to over 70 European cities. We have agreements with the hotels in the city to offer very good value stays for as little as £40 per person per night. We hope that those who successfully make it to the final event in Bradford will leave the city with memories that last them for the rest of their lives. If you move on briefly, as I'll say, a last word about our partners. So the University of Bradford, I've introduced them in that introduction to the city. They're offering very serious support by connecting us into the city itself and making sure that we have a good representation from researchers, research groups and students in the university. We also hope to have students and researchers coming from other universities within an hour's travel from Bradford. I think the density of university students and researchers in the north of England is among the highest in Europe, and so we should be well represented in the academic sphere. The City of Culture itself, Bradford 2025, has been a major supporter and is helping to ensure that the city is going to give us its full support. That's the political support and the authorities that run the city. They're fully behind this hackathon. And the International Year of Quantum is supporting us by putting a judge on the judging panel, and also by making sure that they share and spread the word about the hackathon through their social media and newsletters and that sort of thing. And any successful groups in this hackathon will feel that full support as they do well and get through to the final stages. And then just briefly a word about Quantinuum. We're the world's largest fully integrated quantum computing company. That doesn't actually make us that big if you think about the huge global technology companies there are today, but they all started small. And quantum computing is at that stage where it's beginning to accelerate now and grow very, very fast. So we are large. We have a good number of people working in the UK, in the US, and Germany and Japan. And as part of our hackathon, we will offer access to our emulators for those teams who are using quantum circuits are the coding participants in the hackathon. But very ambitiously, we are hoping that this hackathon is very accessible and we will have successful groups who are not going to write a single quantum circuit, but what they will do with the help of mentors, and we'll offer many mentors and so will some of our partners, we hope that some of those groups will be able to successfully tell the judges in the hackathon how their solution will change something important to the people who are the beneficiaries of it, and also will benefit from a quantum computing speed up at some point in the future. So we will have both code and no code teams participating in this hackathon. And then with that, I'll hand over to one of the other most vital partners in this group, which is Akora. And I'll hand back to you, Yanis, for now.
Thank you, Pete. All right. Yes. So hi again from my side. I'm representing Akora. You might have heard about Akora before. So we have actually history in running such hackathons in person together with QuantX, but also virtual competitions and hackathons. And we are also hosting this one. So again, for the structure of this hackathon, we have this kickoff today on the 27th of October. We by that open the virtual phase, and I will soon show you how this will look like on our Akora platform. For this phase will last for 4 weeks, so until the 20th of November, basically. On the 20th of November, there will be the first event in the evening in Bradford Live, the venue that Pete was just sharing with you. And then on the 21st of November, there will be the in-person final, where you have a last chance to refine your solutions and also present it to the jury then. Upfront, and I think we will have the modalities on a later slide, not every team will be able to present there and compete for the prize pool of the £25,000. There will be a down selection, but we kick off the event today and you will have the opportunity to start working on your use cases from today. All right, with that, let me start sharing how you actually join this hackathon. And I hope I will manage all windows and also I will keep an eye on the chat for the questions. So all of you actually have received an email earlier today that was unintentional. So I'm sorry for that. I will stop sharing this part of the screen. You will receive an email later today. That will be the correct one. And I should be able to bring it up here. So you should now see my email inbox. So this email will look like the following, where you actually receive the invitation to join the hackathon. It will have the link. Click here. And I'm sorry, but I have to jump between screens. So when I open that one, and I think I'll go here. Now you see my window. This is the Akora website. I will now click on the link. I first need to go here. I should be prompted, right? So this is once you click on the link, you will be prompted with this page, which defines again the terms and conditions of the hackathon that you can read through. You will be able to log in from here or create your account. I happen to already have this account, and let me see that I can sign in. And once I'm signed in, yes, I will be able to accept and have access to the platform. So on akora.io/events/quantum-bradford 2025, and we will make this website public as well, you will have access to the overview again with information about the structure of the hackathon. You will have access to the use cases or competitions that we will soon show you. There's 4 of them at the moment. You can also explore the agenda from here, which might fill over time. And you also have the opportunity to reach out to us here. So there's this discussion section. Be mindful when you create a new topic. Okay, if you have enough karma, everyone will be receiving an email for this one. We, as the organizers, will keep an eye on all these topics and reply to them. You will also receive email notifications from within the topics. So it's basically a threaded conversation that we have here. I'm now part of this one, and before I'll hand over, let me first see, and I need to check, I think I did it here. As you will find your team members, I mean, you're supposed not exactly to work on your own, but please organize yourself in teams. We have on each of these competitions, after you joined them, a team settings tab here where you can mark yourself as available. So you might already have teammates and you can create an organization and join them. Or so I mean, I think I have to join here. And then if I go to the team setting, I'm actually here and can select how I would participate. So this is myself. I'm part of this organization called Quackers. And I see that in this case, me, Janne Stubbermann, is actually also looking for teammates. So I can reach out to him, clicking on this message, giving a brief description of what I'm doing. Hi, can we team up? I just want to show you how this will look like. Can we team up? And I would send this, and then I will need to jump windows again soon. So this would trigger, oops. Yeah, this would trigger the following email to that other account. Let me see where I can, sorry. Where here now, I hope you can see this one. I would receive the email that says, can we team up? And a few more instructions on how to do this. Yeah. So you might not know your teammates yet. If you do, you can already organize as a team, but you will have the opportunity on the platform to look for teammates, mark yourself as available, and then have the instructions here on how to form a team and how to submit as a team. If you have more questions for this, please don't hesitate to reach out in the discussion section on the event. And I'm going back. So just to show this one again, the discussion section in the event is, if you're on this website, there's discussions. And here you can create a new topic. And especially if you ping @Stubby, for sure will receive the notification. So this for the team organization, once you have joined one of these competitions, go to team settings, and here you will be guided through how to find your teammates. We suggest teams of 5. If you are more, if you're less, that's okay. But we would prefer teams of 5 to also keep the number of pitches that we can have at the venue at the end sane. All right, that being said, so here we have the overview. I just quickly want to check the chat. If there had been any questions. Will any visa support be provided for those selected to the on-site event, like an invitation letter and/or travel assistant? Pete, I will unmute you for this one.
Yeah, thanks, Yanis. And hi, Niraj. Thanks for the question. We aren't well set up to support a large number of visa applications. So, but I would say that if you, if anyone thinks that that is what they need, if you contact Yanis, as he just showed you in Akora, if the numbers aren't too high, I can certainly look into it, but it's not something we're prepared for. I just want to manage expectations on that front. On the travel assistance, we will offer some travel assistance. I don't think it's likely to cover the full costs of long distance travel. We're at the moment committing to covering expenses of up to £50 per person for their travel and accommodation. So I think that that's partial as opposed to complete support. Hopefully that makes a difference, and that's what we're able to do.
Thank you, Pete. I'm reading through the other questions. Also, travel within the UK. Pete, I see this question might be to you.
Yeah, the assistance we are offering for travel covers any travel. It's just the amount is not sufficient to cover long haul flights, for example. I think it can be used for any amount of travel. We'll ask people to sort of send evidence of the cost.
Perfect. Thank you for those questions. And I see 2 more before I continue. If I don't have a team, can I join one that's already created? I'm not a technical professional. I teach adults. I'm interested in well-being. Svetlana, yes, for sure you can. So as I was just sharing, you can go through once you've decided for one of the competitions, or you can also join all of them, but please make sure to make a submission at least to one of them, and ideally only to one of them. Go into the team settings and you can mark yourself as available for team. I mean, you can then fill in what you bring to the table and what you're looking for, and then others will see you in this list and be able to reach out to you as well. Yeah. And I think before I go, so for the competitions, the question by Talib, yes, we will introduce the competitions with the partners soon. Let me just see. Does reaching the final automatically mean that teams will be considered for future support, or is it solely for selecting the winners? And if a strong team is unable to travel to Bradford, can they present remotely, or will they be considered differently? Pete, I will also hand this one to you.
Yeah, thanks, Yanis. We need teams to come to Bradford for this. So, as I say, I think we will have to. It's going to be one of the selection requirements. We need a team to commit to attending the event live. I recognise that's an undertaking, um, but we think that having those people come to Bradford will make a very big difference to the impact the event has. Overall, both for the participating teams, but also for the supporting partners and the city itself.
Thank you. Ethan, there is no minimum allowed team size. We would strongly recommend not to do it alone and aim for the target of 5 members per team. Okay. And then I think we will go through the use cases. So again, I'm starting from this page that you will enter. You will see the use cases here. You can scroll through them left to right. Be aware that this is a scroll bar. And let me actually introduce the use cases to you one by one, or respectively hand over to the use case provider. The first one is Phantom Brush, which is provided by Moth, and we have James from the Moth team here. James, I'm handing over to you.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm James Wotton. So I am the chief scientific. No, I've sat here not speaking, and once I get to speaking, I forget how to do it. I am the chief scientific officer of Moth Quantum. So Moth is a quantum software startup specifically targeting the creative industry. So looking at what quantum computing can do for things like games, rendering, um, music, and so on. This combination of science and media is actually a very Bradford kind of thing because it's host of the National Science and Media Museum, which, if you get selected to go, you can check out. So I know about that because I did my PhD at the University of Leeds, which is right next door. And then went on to come to Switzerland. I was at IBM Quantum for a while. At that time, I started to make tools that people could use in hackathons, and one of them called Quantum Blur kind of caught on in ways I didn't expect. Particularly, there's an artist called Roman Lipsky who's based in Berlin that I've been collaborating with now for 5 years, and Quantum Blur has become the main tool for his artistic expression. But we wanted to build on that success and make another quantum tool that he could use for his art that is more tailored to running on actual quantum computers. Because Quantum Blur is easier to run on a simulator. We want to make effects for artists to use to discover new things in their artistic practice that is empowered by current quantum computers. And so that is the story behind Quantum Brush. It is an open source project that we did in collaboration with Roman Lipsky, the artist, and also DESI, which is a research institute in Germany. And we created a prototype version of the app. So you can, it's a digital paint tool. You can go and download it for free now and get painting with it. But it also has brush effects that are powered by quantum circuits. We have a paper, so you can go and read up on what the thinking was behind all of these quantum circuits. But they're all quite pedagogical. They're all kind of, well, no, cloning is a thing, so let's use that to create an effect. but how can we push beyond this? How can really push the limits of what we can do with current quantum computers, and use that to serve artists? So that's the challenge that we are giving you, essentially to become a contributor to this open source project, to go in there and design a new brush effect. So to go and look at the ones that we've made, learn what we did, understand the existing ones, but then to take that and run with it and make something that is miles better than anything we did. So that's the challenge that we're setting you. You've got all of the information on the page here, and if you need any more information, our office hours will be run by Astrid Park, who's on the call, but she is the one who's really leading this Quantum Brush project. So if you want to know anything, Astrid's the one to ask. Thank you very much.
Thank you, James. Yeah, I think that's a very cool use case, very creative, and as you said, aligning with the Bradford theme for this one. Just giving a second to ask questions in the chat to James at this point. So this will be one of the challenges that you can work on. Okay, I see other questions which we will address later, but not especially for this one. So let me go to the use case from Project 11, and not to confuse, there's another James who will present this one, James Fitzwater. So the stage is yours.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'll actually pass to Connor, our VP of Engineering. He'll explain sort of what Project 11 is, and then I will handle sort of what our use case is like.
Thanks, James, and thanks, Yanis and Peter. Hi, everyone. I'm Connor, the co-founder and VP of Engineering at Project 11. I'm an imposter on this call. I am not a quantum programmer, so don't ask me many quantum questions. I am a cryptographer, mostly interested in post-quantum cryptography. So this is at the heart of what Project 11 is doing. What we're focused on right now is how do we protect against these new machines. As probably everyone on the call is aware, quantum computers have an impact on classical cryptography, which is ubiquitous and used almost everywhere. Every single one of us is talking over a quantum vulnerable connection right now on this Zoom call. So we need to upgrade all of these protocols, from messaging services, distributed systems, blockchains, messaging apps, you name it. So that's at the heart of what Project 11 is doing, is taking new post-quantum cryptography, which is quite a new area of research, and rolling that out into production systems. So that's what we do at Project 11. Our use case will hopefully reflect that a little bit. But as I said, I'm an imposter, so I'm very happy to hand over to James, who's on our team and is leading both this effort and also all of our quantum efforts, who knows much more about the quantum side of things. Just before I do, always happy to chat around anything post-quantum. If people are kind of interested in what these algorithms look like, how they work, how they differ from the classical algorithms that are going to be broken by things like Shor's and Grover's algorithm. Always very happy to chat. And Yanis, I'm sure you've got both myself and James's contact details, so happy to share that with anyone. Yeah, with that, thanks both Yanis and Peter, and I'll hand over to James.
Yeah, so as Connor said, that's what Project 11 is about. Our specific use case handles both classical and quantum cryptography. So the idea is we ease you into classical cryptography from the mathematical underpinnings, and then eventually you progress to simulators, and in-person, it would be the hardware. So sort of the background of it, as Connor had said, a lot of our modern day cryptography is vulnerable, especially to quantum attacks, Shor's algorithm. And our incentive for this, or our interest in this, is trying to get people both into the field as well as maybe try some novel solutions. So we have one use case, but there's 4 parts, and they're all black box. So you have to sort of use these algorithms to try and solve for the best, fastest way for all of them. And then the people who do the best by metrics will go in person, and yeah.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, I think this is also a very relevant use case, as Connor and James were introducing. They also have a very interesting other competition ongoing on the Q-Day prize, where it's not only about the security of our communication via Zoom, but also about the impact of quantum computing on the underlying cryptography of Bitcoin, which is also a very interesting one. But yeah, so also as Connor was mentioned, I think these competitions are not only a chance to provide solutions, but also to get in touch with any of the mentors and teams participating, which I think is also a great opportunity for everyone. All right. I keep it just open also here for a quick check-in for specific questions. I see there's more regarding the visa. Please let them coming, but we will come back to them later then. Okay. Then I'll move on to the third use case, which is provided by EngineEye, and there's Laia on the call. Laia, I'm handing over to you.
Thank you, James. Hi, so I'm Laia, I'm the Chief Science Officer at EngineEye, and we're a quantum computing startup designed at solving quantum computing challenges within life sciences. And one of the areas of research that we have is clinical trial design and optimization, and this is one of the central problems that we're solving within this area. And here the problem that we're trying to solve is allocating patients into different treatment and control groups for the clinical trial design. This is called patient stratification. And this is critical because clinical trials have very high costs and very high failure rate. So anything that we can do to try to improve the design of this trial so that we can reduce this failure rate will really allow us to bring drugs to market faster and potentially save lives. So here the goal will be to solve an optimization problem where we have a set of patients, 100 patients, and we want to divide them into two groups, the treatment and the control group. And we want to do that so that the distributions of certain attributes of the patients are as similar as possible in the two groups. So for example, one of the attributes is going to be age. So we will want the two distributions to be balanced in terms of age. But then we will also add other covariates so that finding balanced group is going to become more challenging. And this will end up being a constraint optimization problem where we want to, keep the distributions balanced and at the same time have every patient assigned to one of the groups and maintain the size of the groups equal. So this is going to be an optimization problem. And then the task here is to try different quantum optimization algorithms to try to find the best solution that minimizes a discrepancy function that we have designed. And if you scroll down, you will see the whole mathematical formulation of the problem. And in the document section, you will also see like an example and what we expect as a solution, which is basically just like a binary list of the assignment of the patients to each of the groups. So yeah, this is it. And it will be available for office hours if you have any other questions. But thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Laia. So this I find a very interesting use case, especially if you think about quantum computing and its proposed use cases. It's actually in the development of drugs, but more in the design of the molecules. But this is surprisingly relevant in a later stage where quantum computers can also help, and potentially even near term because it's a very hard classical problem. I see. How long is the presentation, please? As it's split into part A and part B. Sushma, I hope I pronounced the wrong name correctly. You mean this presentation today or the presentation that you are going to provide? For the first and final. Okay. No, we will provide you with more instructions later, but you will basically have a set amount of minutes to give all of your presentation. And that's also why we would suggest you to have mixed teams. It's good if you are technically strong for addressing a use case like this one potentially. But we are not only looking for the technical solutions, but also for the whole story and how it can be integrated and be of relevance for business. In regard to clinical trial optimization, when are the office hours and who I could contact?
So you will contact me, and regarding when, I think we will send you an email with all of the office hours, right? So you will get them information.
Yeah, I think we should put it maybe in the overview here.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, or send it in the discussions. But yes, actually good point. So there will be office hours provided by all of the mentors that are currently presenting. All right. Any other question regarding the clinical trial optimization, Julia? Right. Then I'm moving to the last use case for now. And for this one, I'm handing over back to Pete.
Thanks, Yanis. Now, those three use cases, which are very different from one another, demonstrate the universality of quantum computing as a new technology. But one thing that we have to remind ourselves of, who work in quantum computing as an industry, is that it's a very early stage technology. So those are real examples of how quantum computing is going to be very powerful, and you can already run some algorithms and you can already use some tools and see what is going to work later once the hardware scales up and becomes stable enough to support very programs that run for a long time. But we also understand that the full impact of quantum computing will never arrive if the rest of the world isn't beginning to think about what they would do with quantum computing. And that's why this hackathon, which is a little bit different, although we have run these types of hackathons before, also has what we call the no-code stream or track. So this hackathon is open to groups of people who have no quantum computing skill or experience at all. Now, we would ideally have mixed teams. So if there were 2 or 3 people who are joining the hackathon and they would love to try and tackle a certain problem that isn't one of those that's been presented so far, we don't want that to rule them out. Our recommendation would be to think through how your use case that you might bring from your own professional walk of life or your own area of study. Think about how your use case is strongly aligned with the 6 goals of the International Year of Quantum, and think about how you can prove, or at least suggest strongly, that it will benefit or could benefit from a quantum computing advantage or a speed up at some point in the future. The ideal would be that you then join up with some other people who have said that they're looking to join teams who do have quantum computing experience. But actually, we will make it in the way that we assess, in the way the judges assess the presentations and the work that's submitted. We will make it that it is possible for a team to do very well, even without the ability to show that they can use quantum computing today. So this bring your own use case idea, we proved it works well on a hackathon a few months ago in the UK, which was where we brought together it was about 150 professionals from the National Health Service, none of whom had any experience with quantum computing. But then by teaming up with a team of mentors offered by Continuum, we were able to help them understand how maybe a data set or a certain use case within their discipline or their domain could well be a beneficiary of quantum computing in the future. And so we were able to help them build in a dimension which we called their quantum moonshot. And it might be to show how they could use quantum topological data analysis. Or perhaps they were already looking at a chemistry problem that could benefit from a quantum speed up in the future. So we were able to show them how they could pitch an idea that could benefit from a quantum speed up, even though they weren't able to prove that right here and now. So in this hackathon, there will be prizes for teams who are showing that they can write code or write circuits and actually use the quantum computing tools. And there will also be prizes for teams who aren't capable of doing that, but they can show, and they have to show, that they have a real world use case. It should have an impact, tangible and measurable impact, and they will show how it can be measurable in alignment with the International Year of Quantum. And they will work with a quantum mentor, if they haven't already teamed up with a quantum computing expert, and be able to show in their submission or their pitch that it could feasibly have a quantum computing speed up at some point in the future. It means we have a diverse set of pitches. Some will be more technical, some less, but we want to be absolutely clear that this balance is going to be true across both sides, the technical and the non-technical. So non-technical teams must show how feasibly quantum computers will support their use case in the future. And technical teams must show how their mission or their pitch, their idea is strongly aligned with the International Year of Quantum. And underpinning all of that, what our judges are probably looking for more than anything else is originality and creativity from the teams. So showing technical aptitude is going to be absolutely essential if you're on the code or technical track, but showing creativity and originality is also absolutely essential if you're going to be really successful. I could give some examples. It's probably not that relevant, but in the previous healthcare hackathon, because we had a lot of people who were doctors, midwives, nurses, and professionals in the National Health Service. The use cases were things like preventing disease, early intervention, improving certain types of service within a health system. And they were the sorts of solutions that if you could make that solution a reality, it would have a transformative effect on perhaps millions of people's lives. So the impact dimension was incredibly strong. But as I say, to be successful, they also had to, through their work with mentors, show feasibly how quantum computers could be either an essential or an additive part of their solution in time.
Thank you, Pete. I see one question that potentially, I assume, is for this one specifically. Can we bring a problem or use case that the hackathon can help us think about differently?
Yes, absolutely. I think in a way that is the most powerful thing a hackathon like this could do, is help people come to new positions on what they knew beforehand. And it might be through practical work, it might be through collaboration with people that they didn't work with before, it might be through the support of the mentors. At the moment, I think in the end, we will probably have the support of something like 15 or 20 mentors through this process, which is a fairly high number, and most of them, if not all of them, will also be there at the live final, which means that teams should, by promoting office hours, and also by teams just being able to ask for help, put their hand up in the discussions and say they really would like some help from a person with either general quantum computing expertise, or maybe even more than that, they want some help in a specific domain. We will have mentors, I think, who can offer that sort of support. And I should also probably add that quantum computing doesn't work in isolation. It crosses over into artificial intelligence, it crosses over into supercomputing and high performance computing. So we will also have mentors who are experts in those areas. And it means that you should be able to get all the support in the next few weeks to make sure your idea is really rigorous, even if you as a group haven't brought quantum computing expertise to the table from the beginning.
Thank you, Pete. Do we have to present the same presentation we won last time, or can it be different? The way I read this question, I would say it should be different. Maybe Pete.
Can I just sort of add? So it's worth sort of noting that 4 of the teams that, or at least 4, I think 4 have entered at this beginning stage of this hackathon were the successful teams in an NHS hackathon that we ran 6 months ago or something like that. And I've mentioned that a few times. So I think for those teams, I have to say, I would say, Yanis, I disagree slightly. I see no reason why you shouldn't be able to present the same idea you had before. 2 things I would say, though. One is it has to remain fresh and interesting. And the world of quantum computing moves very, very fast. I would say even in 6 months, things have changed about what people are excited about and what they're likely to be looking for. And the other thing to say is that what I've just said was relevant to teams who I know have registered for this hackathon, your success last time is not going to make it a certainty that you're going to succeed this time. So I think I'd advise everybody, and this is true of anyone else who's already succeeded in previous hackathons, I would say it's fine to come with the same ideas that have been successful before, but I would always be looking to build on those and improve on those. And perhaps if you're a team of 3, bring in 1 or 2 new people to the team and give yourself the best chance of freshening up and building on previous ideas.
Thank you. Yes, I'm seeing the next question about where to reach out, which I will answer soon. So this was the 4 use cases that are provided at the moment. Pete, I think there might come more, right? or they might be provided within the framework of the bring your own use case with a little bit more guidance.
Yes, I would just say that we are still in talks with a couple of other organizations who have said they'd like to propose a use case. Actually, theirs are likely to be non-technical, although we will work with them with our mentors to make sure that they are nevertheless feasibly quantum in the future. So if that happens, they will be added in here. I think we'll make a judgment on whether or not that they are good enough to become their own use case that gets promoted at this top level. I think I wouldn't want an organization to come in with something, maybe a nice idea, but it really has to be a rigorous enough, according to our judging criteria, that it makes it to that top level. So we'll see what they propose. If it's a nice idea and nothing more than that, it won't appear there.
All right, thank you. Yes, so regarding the question for reach out, as I was showing before, you will get access to this website. We will send out the email and it will also be available for you to access. There is this discussion section, so please go here and throw in your questions here. You can create a new topic, which is basically a title, and then the text, and then there will be a threaded discussion on this one. You can tag any one of us, but we will also make sure to follow these discussions and reply to you. And yes, please keep those questions coming, and we will do our best to provide the good answers. All right, this is for now concluding the overview of the platform, Cora, and the use cases. I just stay here for another second to see if there's more questions for this technical aspect specifically. I don't see questions coming, so let me go back to the presentation. It should be on here, so going back to this one. And yeah, you have seen EngineEye, Moth, and Project 11 presenting their use cases. So thank you once again for providing those, making this hackathon the hackathon that with the challenges that people can work on. There's also the Hartree Center that will provide mentors. And as Pete was just mentioning, there might be more to come. I see there's a question. Oops. Two questions. I do not see any use case for energy or sustainability. Will there be a chance of that being added in the future? David, I would say two answers. First, yes, there might be the chance from the providers to provide these use case as Pete was suggesting. Otherwise, there's this bring your own use case where you're also free to provide the problem and the solution. Are we going to be using Quantinuum's TCAT and other Quantinuum libraries for the hackathon? Yeah, let me maybe go to the next slide, which might, okay, this is, yeah, let me then first go to this slide because I think there's the answer to this one. So we were discussing that today we have the kickoff here on the 27th of October, and that there will be the in-person final on the 20th and the 21st in Bradford, in the Bradford Live. There will be different webinars over the course of the next weeks. Among them, the introduction on quantum computing 101 and the introduction to Quantinuum Nexus and emulators. So Quantinuum will provide you with this access and also give you guidance on how to use them. We will finalize the webinar schedule and provide you with it in time and through the discussion section. We will also have webinars provided by EngineEye and Project 11, which we still have to finalize. Right, so there will be this. Regarding the question before, I think this was kind of the right, and I will come to the judges. This was kind of the right slide for this one. So Pete was saying that these your presentations should be ideally aligned with the goals of the International Year of Quantum, which you see presented here. You will do nothing wrong by working on the use cases, but when you present them, it's important to think about how they can be explicitly aligned with those. Then I see who are the judges and how many teams are participating. I don't think we have exactly the judges on these slides. We will make them available to you, but it is people from the parties involved. And how many teams are participating? So we are having the Bradford Live location, which has a capacity for 200 participants. We assume teams of 5, which would make it 40 teams. Not all of these 40 teams would be able then to present. There will be a down selection process also on site. But yeah, so it should be 40 teams roughly that are participating. I will be sharing the slides. Yes, also this event is being recorded. And how many teams will be selected for the live event? So we will very likely have 15 teams presenting. That's something that there's a bit of discussion left, but it should be 15 teams. Right. I'm just moving forward with the slides, but please keep those questions coming. So how to succeed in the judging panel. It's the 3 main pillars that Pete was discussing before. So it's the quantum feasibility, it's the international year of quantum goals alignment, and it's the creativity originality. So ideally, you find a mixed team to be able to address all of them accordingly. Right. Pete was mentioning this before. So in order to qualify for any prize money, you will need to be in Bradford and the Bradford Live on the 20th and 21st, especially on the 21st. I think the 20th you want to join for a nice reception and evening program. On the 21st, there will be also the schedule shared for that day with the judging panel. We have discounted room rates. I think they were already included in the email. I hope I'm not wrong. But otherwise, reach out to us and we will share them with you, and also the travel assistance given by Continuum. And oh yeah, this was already the last slide. So this would, from my side, conclude this kickoff, but I'll stay here for more to keep questions and potentially, if Pete, you want to have a last word, it's also your chance.
I'm not a big fan of last words, although I do just want to reiterate those key points that the venue is the sort of centerpiece of this live event. It will be listed as one of the International Year of Quantum events and also one of the Bradford City of Culture events. So it's kind of like bringing together 2 programs that run through 2025. But we hope that by bringing people together live, it does amplify the impact of the event. It also will no doubt introduce people to others that they haven't met before, and it may hopefully build some connections which have long-lasting value for the participants. The discounted room rates, I don't believe we've shared information on that yet, but there's a hotel in that picture. You can actually see it. It's basically on the right-hand side, just over the tree there. There's a nice hotel there, and they're offering us very, very good priced, well-priced rooms. So we hope that we understand cost is always an issue, but we hope we're going to be able to keep the costs down as far as is possible, recognizing that many people will have to travel to this event. And as I say, we will offer some travel assistance. It won't cover the full costs, I don't believe, for anyone, unless you happen to be just needing a short train journey or something like that. But we hope that makes a difference to some teams and helps them make the decision to go ahead and travel. I would just say to people, don't book any rooms yet. We will communicate through the process. So over the next week, you'll start to hear more information from the organising group. And once we know what the numbers are looking like, and we understand whether or not there is a down selection process required in the middle of the next 4 weeks, then we can tell you go ahead and start booking things. I think we'll have to come back to the point about visas. I should say I can't ignore that point. That's 3 people I think have asked questions about visas. I need to look into that on our side because that doesn't fit very nicely with the timeline we've just talked through. And I will see if there's any way we can mitigate that once I understand the scale of the problem there.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. Svetlana, I see your question. There was above, if any organizational questions arise later, for example, about travel reimbursement or the possibility of arriving a day early and staying overnight, who should I contact? Could you provide contact information? Please raise those questions in the discussion section. Just open switching screens again to that one. So you will have access to this website where there is the discussion section, and you can open new topics here, and then we will come back to you and help you with any such questions. All right, then thank you, everyone. We will follow up with the email that invites you to the Agora space, and then we'll see you there, I believe. So best of luck, everyone. And I hope we will be able to address all your questions along the way. Thank you so much.